In a world where legends fade and darkness looms, whispers of forgotten creature echo through the valleys. A young girl, unassuming yet brave, stumbles upon a hidden cave that holds the key to her kingdom's salvation. Dragons, once thought to be mere myths, are reborn in the flickering shadows of her discovery. As evil giants threaten to engulf the realm, this girl must forge an unbreakable bond with the last dragon, igniting a spark of hope. Will she rise to the challenge and protect her home, or will the giant's reign of terror extinguish the light forever? In the heart of Eldoria, a kingdom nestled between towering mountains and lush forests, peace was a fragile thread. The villagers thrived under the warm sun, their laughter echoing through cobblestone streets. But shadows began to creep across the land as the fearsome gigantes, colossal creatures with hearts as cold as stone, emerged from the depths of the darkwood forest. Their thunderous footsteps shook the ground, and their hunger for destruction threatened to consume everything in their path. The king, once a beacon of hope, now wore a crown heavy with despair. His advisors spoke of ancient prophecies, tales of dragons that once soared through the skies, guardians of the realm. Yet, dragons were deemed mere fantasies, lost in the annals of time. As the gigantes ravaged villages, the people of Eldoria lost hope, their spirits crushed beneath the weight of fear. Amidst this turmoil lived a young girl named Elara, whose heart burned with an unyielding courage. She often wandered the outskirts of the village, dreaming of adventure and magic. The stories of old captivated her, igniting a spark of curiosity that refused to dim. Little did she know, fate had woven her destiny into the very fabric of Eldoria's survival. One fateful day, while exploring the rugged cliffs beyond the village, Elara stumbled upon a hidden cave, its entrance cloaked in vines and mystery. The air crackled with an energy she had never felt before, beckoning her to uncover its secrets. As she took her first step inside, a flicker of light caught her eye, illuminating the darkness. What she would find within those ancient walls would change the fate of her kingdom forever. Elara stood at the cave's entrance, heart racing with a mix of fear and excitement. The air inside was thick with mystery, and the walls shimmered with an otherworldly glow. As she ventured deeper, the sound of the outside world faded away, replaced by a soft hum that resonated through the stone. Each step echoed like a heartbeat, urging her to uncover the truth hidden within. As she explored the cave, Elara discovered ancient carvings on the walls, depictions of dragons soaring majestically through the skies, their scales glinting in the sunlight. The images told stories of bravery, sacrifice, and the bond between dragons and humans. She felt a connection to these creatures, as if their spirits still lingered in the shadows, waiting for someone to awaken them. Suddenly, a low growl reverberated through the cavern, sending shivers down her spine. Elara paused, her breath caught in her throat. She turned slowly, her eyes scanning the darkness, searching for the source of sound. There, nestled in a bed of glowing crystals, lay a magnificent dragon, its scales of vibrant emerald, eyes sparkling like sapphires. The creature was wounded, its wing pinned beneath a heavy rock. Elara's heart swelled with empathy. She approached cautiously, whispering soothing words. "I won't hurt you. I want to help." The dragon lifted its head, regarding her with a mix of curiosity and caution. In that moment, Elara realized that this was no ordinary creature. It was a guardian of the realm, long forgotten but now awakened by her presence. With determination, she began to clear the rubble, her small hands working tirelessly. As the last stone fell away, the dragon stretched its wings, revealing their majestic span. It let out a roar that echoed through the cave, a sound filled with both pain and gratitude. Elara stepped back, awestruck by the creature's beauty and power. In an unexpected gesture, the dragon lowered its head, inviting her to climb onto its back. Elara hesitated for a moment, but felt an overwhelming urge to accept the invitation. She grasped its shimmering scales and clambered up, settling in between the dragon's powerful shoulders. As she did, a bond formed between them, a connection forged through trust and bravery. Together, they soared into the skies, the wind whipping through Elara's hair as they flew above the kingdom. From this vantage point, she could see the devastation wrought by the gigantes, the charred remains of villages and the frightened faces of her people. Anger surged within her, fueling her resolve. With the dragon by her side, she could fight back against the darkness threatening to engulf Eldoria. As they landed back in the cave, Elara knew their journey had only just begun. She looked into the dragon's eyes, understanding that together they would confront the evil that loomed over their home. "We will save Eldoria," she declared, her voice steady with determination. The dragon let out a fierce roar, echoing her resolve. As dawn broke over Eldoria, Elara and the dragon, whom she named Zephyr, prepared for their first mission together. The sun painted the sky in hues of gold and crimson, casting a warm glow over the land. Elara felt a surge of hope. With Zephyr by her side, they could change the fate of their kingdom. Their first destination was the village of Elden Hollow, which had been ravaged by the gigantes just days before. As they approached, the sight was heart-wrenching. Homes lay in ruins, and the once vibrant marketplace was eerily silent. Elara's heart ached for her people, but she knew they needed to act quickly. "Stay low, Zephyr," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind. The dragon nodded, gliding silently above the destruction. They landed on the outskirts of the village, hidden behind a cluster of trees. Elara dismounted, her heart pounding as she surveyed the area. Suddenly, a loud roar shook the ground. The gigantes had returned, their massive forms lumbering through the village, laughing cruelly as they pillaged what little remained. Elara's blood ran cold. She could feel the fear radiating from the villagers who hid in the shadows, praying for salvation. "Now's our chance," Elara said, her voice steady despite her fear. "We can't let them hurt anyone else." Zephyr's eyes glimmered with understanding, and together they devised a plan. Elara would distract the gigantes while Zephyr prepared to unleash his fiery breath. With a deep breath, Elara stepped into the open, her heart racing. "Hey, you oversized bullies!" she shouted, her voice echoing through the village. The gigantes turned, their eyes narrowing as they spotted her. "Why don't you pick on some of your own size?" The gigantes roared with laughter, their booming voices shaking the air. "What can a little girl do against us?" one of them taunted, taking a menacing step forward. But Elara stood her ground, her determination unwavering. At that moment, Zephyr took to the skies, circling above the gigantes. The sight of the dragon sent shockwaves through the crowd, and the villagers peeked out from their hiding places, hope flickering in their eyes. Elara could feel their support bolstering her courage. "Now, Zephyr," Elara shouted. The dragon dove down, unleashing a torrent of flames that illuminated the sky. The fire roared to life, engulfing the ground around the gigantes, who stumbled back in shock. Their laughter turned to fear as they realized they were no longer the hunters, but the hunted. Elara seized the moment. "Follow me," she cried, leading the villagers out of their hiding spots. They rallied behind her, emboldened by the sight of the dragon. Together, they charged toward the gigantes, shouting battle cries that echoed through the air. The gigantes, caught off guard, struggled to regain their composure. Zephyr swooped low, his powerful wings creating gusts of wind that knocked them off balance. Elara felt a surge of adrenaline as she led her people into the fray, wielding a makeshift spear she had fashioned from a fallen branch. The battle was fierce, but Elara's bravery inspired the villagers. They fought alongside her, united in their resolve to reclaim their home. With Zephyr's fiery breath and the villagers' determination, they pushed the gigantes back, driving them toward the edge of the village. As the last of the gigantes fled, a wave of relief washed over Elara. The villagers erupted in cheers, their spirits lifted by the triumph. They had faced their fears and emerged victorious, but Elara knew the battle was far from over. The gigantes would return, and they needed to prepare for the challenges ahead. Turning to Zephyr, Elara smiled, gratitude swelling in her heart. "We did it, my friend. Together we can save Eldoria." The dragon let out a triumphant roar, and Elara knew that their bond had only grown stronger. The victory at Elden Hollow ignited a spark of hope throughout Eldoria. News of Elara and Zephyr's bravery spread like wildfire, rallying villagers from neighboring towns to join their cause. The once fractured kingdom began to unite against the looming threat of the Gigants, and Elara felt a surge of responsibility as she took on the role of leader. Days turned into weeks as they trained together, honing their skills and strategizing for the inevitable confrontation with the Gigants. Elara learned to wield her spear with precision, while Zephyr practiced his fire breath, ensuring he could unleash it with devastating accuracy. The villagers, once filled with fear, now stood tall, emboldened by their newfound strength. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow across the land, a rumble echoed through the valley. The ground trembled beneath their feet, signaling the return of the Gigants. Elara's heart raced. This was the moment they had prepared for. "Everyone to your positions," Elara commanded, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The villagers took their places, forming a line of defense around the village. Zephyr soared above, his massive wings casting shadows over the ground. As the Gigants emerged from the tree-line, their towering figures silhouetted against the fading light, Elara felt a mix of fear and determination. "We will protect our home," she shouted, rallying her people. The villagers raised their weapons, ready to fight for their lives. The battle erupted in chaos as the Gigants charged forward, their laughter rumbling like thunder. Elara led the charge, her spear glinting in the fading sunlight. Zephyr swooped low, unleashing a torrent of flames that engulfed the ground around the advancing giants, forcing them to stumble back. Elara fought fiercely, dodging the giants' massive fists and striking at their legs. She could hear the cries of her fellow villagers, their voices mingling with the roars of the giants. Together, they pushed back against the overwhelming odds, their unity becoming their greatest weapon. As the battle raged on, Elara spotted the largest Gigant, its eyes filled with malice. With a fierce determination, she focused her energy and charged toward it. "This ends now," she cried, raising her spear high. Zephyr swooped down beside her, his fiery breath illuminating the darkness. With a swift thrust, Elara struck the giant's leg, causing it to stumble. Zephyr followed up with a blast of fire, igniting the ground beneath the creature. The Gigant let out a deafening roar, its massive form collapsing to the ground. The remaining giants faltered, fear etched on their faces. With renewed vigor, the villagers pressed the attack, driving the remaining Gigants back into the shadows for which they came. As the last of the giants fled, cheers erupted from the villagers, their voices rising to the sky. Elara stood tall, her heart swelling with pride. They had faced their fears and emerged victorious. But deep down, she knew this was not the end. The Gigants would return, and they needed to be ready. As the dust settled over Eldoria, the villagers celebrated their hard-fought victory, their laughter echoing through the once silent streets. Elara and Zephyr stood at the edge of the village, watching the jubilant scene unfold. Hope had returned to their hearts, but an unsettling feeling lingered in Elara's mind. "Today we fought bravely," she said, turning to Zephyr, "but we must remain vigilant. The Gigants will not give up so easily." The dragon nodded, his eyes reflecting a deep understanding. They both knew that the battle against the darkness was far from over. In the days that followed, Elara worked tirelessly to fortify their defenses. She organized training sessions, ensuring that every villager felt empowered to stand against future threats. Yet, as she looked into the faces of her friends and neighbors, she couldn't shake the feeling that something more sinister was at play. One night, as Elara gazed at the stars, a chilling wind swept through the valley. She felt a disturbance in the air, a whisper of danger lurking just beyond their reach. Suddenly, a shadow passed overhead, blocking out the moonlight. Zephyr let out a low growl, sensing the unease. "What is it?" Elara asked, peering into the darkness. The ground trembled once more, but this time it was different, more powerful, more ominous. A figure emerged in the shadows, towering and cloaked in darkness. It was unlike any gigant they had faced before, its eyes glowing with malevolent light. "Elara," a voice boomed, echoing through the night. "You may have defeated my minions, but you will never stop me. I am the true master of the gigants, and I will reclaim what is mine." Elara's heart raced as she realized the gravity of the threat before her. She had awakened a force far greater than she had ever imagined. With Zephyr by her side, she steeled herself for the battle ahead, knowing that the fate of Eldoria hung in the balance. As the figure advanced, Elara took a deep breath, determination flooding her veins. "We will fight," she declared, her voice unwavering. "We will protect our home." And with that, the battle for Eldoria was only just beginning. In the weeks that followed, Elara and Zephyr prepared for the inevitable confrontation with the true master of the gigants. The villagers rallied around them, their spirits unbroken despite the looming threat. They built defenses, forged new weapons, and trained tirelessly, united by a common purpose. Elara often found herself standing atop the hill overlooking Eldoria, where she first met Zephyr. The bond they shared had deepened, transcending the boundaries of human and dragon. Together, they were more than just allies. They were guardians of their realm. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the land, Zephyr landed beside her. "Do you think we're ready?" he asked, his voice a low rumble. Elara smiled, determination shining in her eyes. "We've faced challenges before, and we'll face this one together. As long as we stand united, we can overcome anything." Just then, a chilling wind swept through the valley, carrying whispers of the darkness that awaited them. Elara's heart quickened, but she stood firm, knowing that the strength of her people and her bond with Zephyr would guide them through the trials to come. As night fell, the stars twinkled above, a reminder that hope still shone brightly, even in the darkest of times. Their journey was far from over, but together they would face whatever lay ahead.